A multimillionaire Q descobrio a verdade sober sua barba as 3 am, nunca mais será mesma. A chilling wind whispered through the darkened halls of the elegant mansion, where shadows danced like restless spirits. The clock chimed 3 times, a haunting reminder of the hour when mysteries take shape. No one dared to roam at this unholy time, except for Clara, the glamorous millionaire, who believed herself untouchable. Little did she know, the night held secrets that would shatter her world. As she walked through the glistening marble hallway, an unusual draft made her shiver. The paintings on the walls seemed to watch her with eyes of suspicion, caught in their eternal frame. A soft sound echoed a sickening thud from the nursery. Clara's heart raced. What could it be? She stepped closer, pulse pounding in her ears. At the heart of the commotion was Mara, the new nanny. Just a week into the job, Mara had enchanted Clara's children, finding a strange way of engaging them in wild tales of adventure. But why was she in the nursery at this hour? Peering through the door's narrow crack, Clara felt a web of fear tighten around her chest. What was Mara doing with the children? Was she trying to summon something sinister? Suddenly, a chilling scream pierced the silence, followed by a deadening stillness. Panic gnawed at Clara's insides. She pushed the door open and stumbled into the room, heart racing. The air crackled with tension, the curtains flapped widely, as if answering a spell. The room was empty except for a small old mirror hanging crookedly on the wall, reflecting nothing but darkness. Her daughter's voice echoed in Clara's mind, haunting and faint. "Mummy, look at the mirror." A lump formed in her throat. She felt the weight of history pressing down on her. What did that mirror know? Why did it feel more alive than anything else in the room? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Clara's hand trembled as it reached toward the mirror. Suddenly, reflections twisted and morphed, showing faces not her own, a frantic swirl of terror and joy. They spoke without words, emotion spilling forth like heat rising from asphalt. Goosebumps flared on her arms as she stepped closer. What if this mirror was a portal? What if it revealed the truth about Mara? Had her children fallen into something unspeakable? Could she save them before it was too late? Mara had promised to care for her children, and Clara couldn't shake the feeling that the promise was laced with dark magic. What had she really brought into her home in the dead of night? The answer loomed, and Clara could feel the weight of a shadows-filled world pressing against her resolve. Would it swallow her whole? Clara's heart raced as she stared into the murky depths of the mirror. Each unsettling shift in the reflection sent shivers coursing down her spine. The faces twisted in agony, and her own image seemed to flicker in and out like a candle struggling against the dark. Desperation clawed at her throat, and she couldn't help but whisper, "What are you hiding?" Just then, a creaking sound echoed from behind her, shattering the tense silence. The door to the nursery slowly swung shut, plunging her into an unsettling gloom. She turned, ready to confront whatever lurked in the shadows. For a brief moment, she thought she glimpsed Mara's silhouette in the hallway, but it vanished like smoke before she could call out. Breathing heavily, Clara returned her gaze to the mirror. Had she imagined Mara's presence? Or had the nanny so enchanting yet unnerving been watching her all along? Anxiety tightened around her chest. She racked her brain, trying to remember the details of Mara's arrival. So charming, but charm often hid the darkest secrets. With a sudden resolve, Clara approached the mirror again. She leaned closer, tempts fate as a chill swept across her skin. "Show me the truth," she demanded, feeling the swell of power ignite within her. The mirror responded with a low hum, the air around her pulsing with a bothersome energy. Images flickered, one after another, cascading like a waterfall, her children laughing with Mara in elaborate games, but quickly morphing into unsettling scenes, shadows swirling and flickering in the corners of the room. Tears pricked Clara's eyes. The joy of innocent laughter was slipping away, replaced by something far darker. Panic spiraled in her gut. She jerked back from the mirror, overwhelmed. Could this be a part of Mara's twisted game? The innocence of her children now seemed tainted by shadows lurking just out of sight. Clara's mind raced. What if Mara were using the whispers of those ghastly reflections to draw her children into a dark abyss? It struck her, the nursery had never felt right since Mara's arrival. Was the room a portal? Had it turned into a battleground for souls, her children caught in the crossfire? Clara rushed from the nursery, her pulse hammering in her ears, and made her way towards the children's bedrooms. She needed to know if they were safe. Each step felt like wading through quicksand, the weight of uncertainty anchoring her to the floor. She reached the first door and hesitated. What if hope was misplaced? What if the innocence she sought to protect had already been claimed? With trembling hands, she opened the door, revealing nothing but the gentle rise and fall of her daughter's chest as she slept. It was a sight that should have brought comfort, but fear gnawed at her, whispering warnings she could scarcely ignore. Turning to her son's room, Clara held her breath, praying he too was untouched by the malevolence surrounding them. She pushed the door ajar and peeked inside. Her son was gone. The bed lay empty, the sheets still rumpled from the night before. A cold chill gripped her. Where could he be? Panic surged anew, her heart pounding like a drum. A thud echoed behind her in the stillness just outside the window. With dread pulling her closer, Clara turned toward the sound. She saw Mara standing there, bathed in the dim light of the moon, eyes glinting like shards of glass, a smile that sent ice coursing through her veins. Clara, Mara purred. We need to talk about your son. The world around Clara spun, fear drowning reason. What had this night become? Could she unravel the truth before the darkness consumed all she loved? With each passing moment, the stakes grew more severe. The clock ticked ominously, and Clara realized she was racing against time itself. Clara's mind raced, torn between the primal instinct to protect her son and the icy grip of dread clenching her heart. Mara's serene yet sinister presence seemed to mock her, every second stretching like an eternity. What do you want with him? Clara's voice trembled, her defiance barely masking her fear. Mara stepped closer to the glass, her smile lingering just a moment too long. You misunderstand, she said, her voice smooth as satin yet laced with something darker. I'm not the one to fear. The true danger lurks between worlds, and it has taken an interest in your son. Clara's thoughts spiraled. Between worlds? She barely understood the implications but felt their weight as if they pressed down on her chest, stifling her breath. She wanted to scream, to lash out at the woman who seemed to hold her very family's fate in her hands. Mara continued, her words dripping with a chilling calmness. You saw it in the mirror, Clara. You're closer to the truth than you realize. The laughter, the shadows, they all come from the same place. Your son, he is special. And so is the bond he shares with the nursery. Clara's gaze darted towards the nursery door as if it were a portal to another dimension, one she barely understood. The visions in the mirror flickered through her mind, haunting her. The innocence that had filled her children's lives was under siege. Show me, Clara demanded, desperation edging her voice as she spun back to Mara. Show me what you mean. Mara's eyes lit up with a fiery glint. Oh, but some truths are more painful than the shadows you fear. Are you willing to see what lies hidden beneath the surface? Clara hesitated, her pulse quickening. What could be worse than the nightmare already unfolding in her life? But then she thought of her son, and in that moment of clarity, she nodded. Yes. Show me. With an almost imperceptible nod, Mara turned her face towards the mirror. Clara felt the air shift around them, the atmosphere pulsing with energy. The mirror responded, radiant light illuminating Mara's features, casting eerie reflections that twisted and contorted as if alive. Images erupted from the glass, her son's innocent laughter, now overlaid with shadows voraciously reaching for him. Clara gasped as she saw figures creeping in from the edges, hungry darkness clawing at his spirit. Chills trickled down her spine as dread twisted tighter around her heart. A sudden, haunting whisper pierced the silence. Find me. Clara recoiled as more shadows swirled and danced, revealing flickers of another realm. The nursery transformed before her eyes, morphing into a dark, infinite expanse where her son stood, unknowing and vulnerable. Clara felt the weight of despair. "No!" she screamed, her hand slamming against the glass, yearning to reach her son and pull him to safety. But it was Mara who drew her attention back, her eyes narrowing with sudden intensity. "That's not the real danger, Clara," Mara said, breaking the spell of the mirror. "You need to confront the source of these shadows before they consume everything." Realization churned within Clara. This was bigger than Mara. It was bigger than her son. "What do I need to do?" Mara took a step back, a look of calculated intrigue dancing across her face. "There's a doorway you haven't yet discovered. It opens when the clock strikes 3 and it can change everything." Clara felt the hairs on her neck rise. "You knew about this?" Mara smiled again, but this time it held a mixture of excitement and warning. "It's your choice to make. Venture into the unknown if you dare, but remember, some doors should never be opened." With that cryptic farewell, Mara flicked her fingers, and Clara found herself standing alone in her dim hallway, heart racing, as the clock in the kitchen ticked ominously toward 3. Would she dare to confront the shadows and seek her son? What would she uncover if she followed Mara's ominous path? As the hands approached the hour, a pull of fate urged her forward. Tonight, secrets would unfold and Clara felt time slipping away. Clara's heart pounded like a drum in her chest, drowning out the ticking clock. The air felt heavy, charged with anticipation, and every instinct in her screamed to flee. But she couldn't run. Not now. Not when her son was lost in that shadowy realm. With trembling hands, she stepped towards the nursery, the hairs on her arms raising as if she were walking through a web of trapped energy. The door loomed before her, ominous and foreboding. It felt like a threshold between this world and another one filled with darkness and uncertainty. Every second stretched painfully, and she knew she had to act. As Clara turned the doorknob and opened the door, the nursery was transformed. The calm pastel walls were replaced with swirling shadows, tendrils of darkness licking at the base of the crib where her son slept peacefully, unaware. Clara's breath hitched in her throat. "Jamie!" she called, desperation spilling into her voice. "Wake up, sweetheart!" He stirred, squirming in his quilt, but didn't open his eyes. Clara rushed forward, feeling the chill of the shadows crawling along her skin, tugging at her heels as if trying to halt her progress. "No! You can't have him!" she shouted, flinging her arms around the crib. The moment her fingers brushed the wood, a jolt of energy sparked through her, filling her with determination. But uncertainty gnawed at her. What if she was too late? Suddenly, the nursery light flickered, casting erratic beams across the room. The shadows twisted into forms, emerging from the corners. Clara's heart raced as their shapes took on grotesque features, silently watching her. She felt their hunger, their malevolence wrapping around her like a vice. "Show yourself!" she yelled, the primal instinct to protect surging through her. The shadows parted, revealing a figure not unlike Mara, but more chaotic, eyes swirling with darkness. "You dare to confront me?" Its voice dripped with malice, a chilling echo that bounced off the nursery walls. "Where is my son?" Clara demanded, fighting the urge to cower as she squared her shoulders. "Your son is a beacon, a light that draws me," the figure hissed, extending a shadowy hand toward Jamie. "He belongs to the darkness." A surge of panic shot through Clara. "No. I won't allow it. You can't take him." She stepped forward, her own fear melding with courage. The shadows shrieked as Clara reached for them, picturing her son in her mind innocent, pure, untouched by this evil. "You think you can stop me?" The figure laughed, but the laughter sounded less certain now. Pushing against the rising tide of darkness, Clara felt a warmth gather within her. It ignited memories of love, of laughter, of every tender moment she shared with Jamie. Harnessing that light, she shouted, "You will never have my son." In an instant, a blinding light erupted from her. The nursery morphed, the walls quaking, shadows shrinking back as if scorched by flame. Overwhelmed by her own resolve, Clara stepped beyond the threshold of reality she stood at for so long. Suddenly, the shadows recoiled, their chaotic forms collapsing into themselves as the bright light surged. Clara felt the warmth wrap around her, a protective embrace as she fought back with every ounce of strength. As the chaos swirled, a chilling scream echoed, "You'll regret this, Clara." But she didn't relent. Her heart thudded with a fierce determination, the bond with her son stronger than the darkness surrounding her. "He's mine," she proclaimed, closing the distance between herself and the crib. Before she knew it, the world exploded in a flash. Time seemed to freeze just as the clock in the kitchen chimed 3. A deafening silence followed, swallowing the echoes of danger, but something shifted within her, a sense of power she hadn't realized she possessed. As the light dimmed and the shadows retreated, she dared to breathe again. But something was lurking. Where was Mara? What would happen next, and had Clara truly banished the darkness, or had she only made it angrier? As the room settled, a chilling thought crept into her mind: the true battle had only just begun. The silence in the nursery wrapped around Clara like a thick fog, suffocating yet strangely comforting. Her heart still raced, but the remnants of that blinding light lingered in her mind, pushing back against the shadows that threatened to envelop her. She stepped closer to Jamie, the soft coo of his breath a reminder that he was safe, for now. Yet doubt trickled in like cold water. The shadows hadn't vanished completely, they seemed to linger just beyond her sight, whispering secrets she couldn't quite catch. Clara's eyes darted to the door. Was it even safe to be here? Had she done enough? "Jamie, wake up, please," she whispered, voice trembling. She instinctively reached for his little fingers, hoping for a connection. But all she felt was the chill of the nursery air pressing down on her, and suddenly, the darkness pulsed, like a heartbeat waiting to be acknowledged. The air thickened with a suffocating weight, and Clara turned, her eyes wide. The figure of chaos she confronted earlier emerged again, this time closer, its swirling form clinging to the walls as if made of smoke. "You cannot keep him," the figure taunted, its voice echoing like thunder. "He is a part of me now. Get away from him." Clara screamed, brandishing her protective instincts like a shield. Panic ignited her blood, but she fought back the urge to scream again. More than anything, she needed clarity in this chaos. With a flick of its shadowy wrist, the figure flung a wave of darkness towards her. Clara felt it crash against her like icy water, soulless tendrils wrapping around her, squeezing tight. She gasped, struggling to breathe, to focus, to see beyond the immediate threat. "Strength lies not within you," the figure sneered, "but in surrendering him to darkness. Join me, and you may save your son." "No." The word burst from Clara like a bolt of lightning. "I will never surrender. He is mine." Drawing on the warmth from that brief moment of courage, she envisioned Jamie's laughter, the joy in his eyes. That wasn't just a memory, it was a lifeline. With every breath, she felt the power swell inside her, pooling in her chest like molten gold. Once again, she shouted, "You will not take my son." The nursery began to flicker again, lights pulsed, shadows writhed, the air crackled with a strange electric energy. Clara shot her hand forward, unleashing the warmth within. A beam of light erupted from her palm, crashing through the darkness like sunlight piercing fog. The shadows screeched, recoiling from her fierce determination. The figure howled in rage, its form beginning to unravel. "You can't prevent this. This was meant to be." Clara gritted her teeth, pouring everything into that light, every ounce of love, every moment of happiness she had built with Jamie. The nursery vibrated, resonating with her strength. For a moment, the world stuttered, the shadows collapsed into themselves, the figure struggling against the light. But even as it threatened to be banished, Clara understood. This was not just a battle for Jamie. It was a fight for her own soul as well. As the light surged, illuminating every corner of the room and crowning Clara with a feeling of victory, the room fell silent once more. But what did she hear? An echo, a whisper, softly lingering like a promise unfulfilled. "Your son is mine, Clara. This isn't the end." Clara froze, a sinking feeling clawing at her gut. The shadows had retreated, for now, but something deep inside told her this was only a temporary reprieve. She turned back to Jamie, and for a fleeting moment, an unsettling sense of peace washed over her. But that whisper tugged at her consciousness, reminding her of the darkness lurking in wait. Was this merely the beginning of a greater battle? Clara stepped toward the crib, resolute but shaken. She needed to know how could she protect her son when the darkness was so intimately connected to them both, and as the clock struck 4, the shadows stirred again, promising more than mere nightmares. The silence shattered like glass when Clara heard it, a soft creaked sound echoing from the far side of the nursery, a voice murmuring unintelligibly. Her heart plummeted as cold fear washed over her, and instinctively, she moved closer to Jamie's crib, positioning herself like a barricade. "Who's there?" she called, trying to sound fierce, though her voice wavered. The shadows twitched, reaching out with tendrils that curled and twisted, eager to grasp at her happiness. "Just an old friend," the whisper floated through the air, sinister and velvety, brushing against her skin like a cold breeze. Clara squinted into the dimness. She could barely see, but she felt the latent danger creeping closer. Panic rose in her throat, thick and heavy. Then she recognized it, the voice. It belonged to someone she once trusted. Isla? Clara's heartbeat quickened, memories flashing through her mind. Her former nanny, kind and gentle, had left unexpectedly 2 years ago when Jamie was just a baby. What had happened to her? Why did her voice feel like an echo from a place that should be forbidden? "Your boy is so precious, Clara. I've always wanted to protect him," Isla continued, emerging from the depths of the shadows. Her face emerged as a haunting silhouette, distorted and lingering. "Stay away!" Clara shouted, every muscle tense. "You have no right to be here." Isla smiled, dark and twisted. "But I do, don't you see? I've always been a part of him. I can help him. I can help you." "Help us? By doing what? More of this?" Clara gestured towards the darkness swelling around them. "Your nonsense?" Isla stepped closer, her form solidifying, features sharpening. The remnants of her kindness mixed with something sinister. "You don't understand, Clara. The darkness isn't just a foe, it's a part of destiny. You can embrace it. Together, we can shield him from the world. Just let me guide you." Clara's hand shook. The warmth she had summoned moments before faded into a flickering ember of doubt. Could Isla possess the answers she sought? Or had the shadows claimed yet another soul? With every step forward she took, the shadows seemed to swirl around Isla, giving her an ethereal glow. She was beautiful yet terrifying. "We can create a sanctuary, Clara, one without pain, without suffering. Join me and you will see." "Sanctuary?" Clara echoed. "More like a prison." As uncertainty gnawed at her, Clara flicked her glance to Jamie. He lay blissfully unaware, but she sensed the invisible strings tightening around him, the bond pulling him deep into the gloom. "Your strength is in him," Isla hissed, eyes glimmering. "But if you hold on too tight you will lose him completely." Clara's breath hitched, panic lacing her thoughts. If she let go to save herself, what would happen to Jamie? But holding on might destroy them both. The clock's relentless ticks resounded like a countdown in her ears. Time slipped away as the shadows pulsed with expectancy. Clara steeled herself, still clutching the warmth of light near her heart, torn between the light and the draw of the dark. In that charged moment, Clara knew she was at a precipice. Does she dive into the darkness, hoping to save her son, or fight to protect him from its sinister allure? "Choose." Clara's voice turned seductive, the very air thickening with desire. "Your son or your love for him. Make your choice before the clock strikes one more time." A chill raced through Clara, heart racing faster than ever. With the world around her trembling and the shadows clawing closer, she was aware of one undeniable truth: the battle for Jamie's soul was just beginning, and as the nursery dimmed, shadows twirled, ready to seize upon the moment of indecision. Would Clara unite with Isla or fight her, risking it all? Clara's mind raced like a train barreling toward a dark tunnel, the echo of Isla's last words reverberating through her consciousness. She felt each tick of the clock punctuating the silence, each second a reminder that time was slipping away. "Mommy?" The soft, innocent voice tugged at Clara's heart, pulling her from the darkness that threatened to engulf her. Jamie sat up in his crib, his sleepy eyes wide and trusting, oblivious to the sinister presence that loomed in the room. "Jamie!" Clara darted toward him, her protective instincts flaring. She scooped him into her arms, cradling him tightly against her chest. But even in his safety, doubt gnawed at her. Would holding him close keep him safe, or would it only ensnare them both in a web of shadows? Isla's laughter sliced through the air, light and airy, yet steeped in malice. "You think you can shield him from me, Clara? The darkness will always find a way. Embrace it, and I'll show you power beyond your wildest dreams." Clara's heart thundered. She could feel Isla's presence like a palpable weight in the air, pressing down on her, suffocating her. "I don't want power. I just want to protect my son." "Protection?" Isla smirked, her features ethereal, flickering like candlelight. "What do you truly know of protection? Real power lies in surrender. You should feel honored, Clara. Not many receive an invitation to the unseen realms." Clara shuddered, her grip tightening around Jamie. The warm comfort of his small body contrasted sharply with the chill of the shadows creeping closer. "You left us, Isla. You abandoned us when we needed you." The accusation broke free, a desperate gasp. "And yet, here I am," Isla purred, stepping forward, casting a shadow over them. "I've come back to fulfill my promise." Jamie stirred restlessly in her arms, sensing the conflict swirling around his mother. Clara looked down into his innocent eyes, feeling the burning need to protect him from this twisted reunion. The warmth of her love churned within her, battling the encroaching cold. "No!" Clara shouted, her voice trembling but firm. "You are no part of him." "Ah, but he is so much more than he seems," Isla breathed, a hungry glint in her eye. "Like you, he holds within him the key to the darkness. The world beyond this one is rich with secrets. You deny him destiny." "Destiny?" Clara scoffed, adrenaline thrumming in her veins. "You call this destiny?" She met Isla's gaze, unwavering even as the shadows threatened to swallow them whole. "This isn't fate. It's a trap." Isla's expression darkened, her voice heavy with menace. "Do you think you can stop what has already been set in motion?" The shadows surged, a wave of cold, and Clara had to shield Jamie's eyes from the enveloping darkness. But a flicker of resolve ignited in Clara's chest. She wouldn't succumb without a fight. She had to act. Suddenly, she remembered her old amulet, a charm of protection given to her by her grandmother. In the chaos of her fear, she had almost forgotten it. "Enough!" she declared, and as she spoke, she reached around her neck, fingers wrapping around the cool metal. "You will not take my son." As she grasped the amulet, a surge of warmth shot through her. Light flared from within, pulsing against the shadows gathering to attack. The room filled with a blinding glow, pushing the darkness back, causing Isla to recoil with a hiss. The dreamlike confidence shattering panic surged into Isla's eyes, and for the first time, doubt flickered across her face. "No, what have you done?" "I know my true power," Clara shouted, and with that, she felt Jamie's heartbeat synchronizing with hers, a bond forged in love that transcended all. But just as the shadows receded, Clara caught sight of something lurking in the edges, shapes writhing with intent. They weren't gone, just waiting, coiling like serpents for their moment to strike again. "What have I awakened?" Clara whispered, fear washing over her like a tide. As the light enveloped them, she knew that this was only the beginning. A shadowed figure loomed, still watching, lurking at the fringes of her reality, and as Clara dared to breathe, she felt a whisper in the air behind her. A new chill settled in the nursery, as Jamie gazed beyond her shoulder, eyes wide with fear. "Mommy, what's that?" The room sank into silence, holding its breath, as a new threat shifted into view. Would Clara's strength be enough, or had she merely lit the fuse of something much darker? The shadows shifted, weaving in and out of Clara's vision like a nightmare refusing to fade. She held Jamie tighter, her pulse quickening, heart thundering against her chest. The air chilled further, wrapping around them like icy fingers. Clara's instinct screamed at her to run, but the darkness held her captive. A figure stepped forward, a distorted silhouette that seemed to drink in the light. Clara squinted, trying to make sense of the grotesque shape before her. Was it Isla? No, this was something different, something more monstrous, a creature born of darkness itself. "Who are you?" Clara demanded, forcing her voice to be steady even as her body trembled. With a flick of its form, the figure morphed into a more human shape, but the eyes remained cold and unfeeling, glowing like two burning coals. Its voice dripped with venom. "I am the Guardian of Shadows. You've awoken forces you cannot comprehend." "Guardian of Shadows?" Clara scoffed, tightening her grip around Jamie. "I don't care who you are. Stay away from my son." Its laughter echoed, filling the room with a cacophony that made Clara's stomach lurch. So brave, yet so foolish. This child carries the essence of your lineage. The darkness runs through his blood. It is a gift that seeks its keeper. You cannot protect him from what he is destined to become. "No!" Clara shouted, the word bursting from her throat like a bullet. "I will not let you take him." But inside her, doubt kindled. What if the creature spoke the truth? What if Jamie really was entwined in a fate she couldn't comprehend? "You don't understand," she yelled, struggling to summon her strength. "He's just a baby. He deserves a normal life." "That is not your choice to make," the Guardian hissed, advancing closer. The shadows swirled around it, growing thicker, darker, as if relishing Clara's fear. "The moment you called upon the light, you sealed his fate." Clara felt the amulet grow warmer against her skin, pulsing like a heartbeat in response to her anxiety. "Please," she cried, desperation seeping into her tone. "Just leave him alone." But the Guardian only tilted its head, studying her as though she were a curiosity. "You cannot escape the heritage that binds you. The darkness craves what is denied." At that, Clara's resolve hardened. "You don't know who you're dealing with. I have strength you can't imagine." The Guardian growled softly, shadows converging like a tidal wave. "Strength without understanding is but a flicker in the night. The darkness will consume you both." Just then, Clara felt a pulse of energy surge from the amulet, a spark ignited by her fierce love for Jamie. She thrust it forward, illuminating the room with a brilliant, blinding light. The shadows hissed and recoiled, but the Guardian remained, its form growing more defined with anger. "Such defiance!" it shrieked, the walls quaking with its fury. "You will regret this, Clara. There are beings worse than me lurking in the abyss, and they will come for what you've awakened." "Then let them come!" she roared, wielding the amulet like a shield. Suddenly, the nursery door rattled, echoing with the sound of something outside, something large and relentless. Clara's heart sank as she realized it wasn't just dark shadows that sought them. The walls trembled ominously, and the temperature plummeted again. "Mommy!" Jamie whimpered, burying his face into her shoulder. Above the din, a low growl sounded, resonating through the very foundation of the house. Clara's eyes widened in horror. They weren't alone. "Brace yourself," the Guardian hissed, retreating into the more profound darkness, leaving Clara to face whatever emerged. As the door burst open, Clara prepared for the fight of her life. Who or what was waiting on the other side? What primal forces would emerge now that she had awakened them? In a moment thick with anticipation, Clara felt the weight of destiny upon her. The nursery trembled as shadows twisted and coiled around her feet. Was this truly the fate she had awakened? With breathless intensity, she stood ready. Or was she, in her stubbornness, merely opening the door to a much larger darkness? The moment approached, but the final echoes of the Guardian's voice haunted her, leaving Clara with a chilling notion the worst was yet to come. The door exploded inward, splintering wood flying everywhere. Clara barely had time to register the shadowy figure now framed in the doorway before it lunged. It was gargantuan, more beast than man, hunched and menacing, with long, claw-like fingers that seemed to grope for her in the dim light. Clara's instincts kicked into overdrive. She tightened her grip on Jamie, drawing him closer, her heart racing as she shouted, "Get back! The amulet pulsed again, a warm sphere of light spreading outwards, illuminating the creature's grotesque features. It paused, its eyes narrowing, flickering uncertainly in the brightness. This was her chance. "Let us go, Jamie!" she cried, lunging toward the window, desperate for any escape. But there was a sudden shriek of laughter from behind, chilling Clara to the bone. The guardian's serpentine voice cut through the air, mocking her. "You think you can escape? It's too late, Clara. The curse binds you." Ignoring the shards of fear tightening her throat, Clara shoved the window open and braced herself against the frame, eyes darting back at the creature now advancing with predatory determination. Its growl was guttural, a warning, but she couldn't look back. She had to get to safety. "Clara!" the guardian wailed, its voice reverberating with a twisted glee. "You cannot outrun your fate. And worse yet, you have awakened something ancient. It is hungry." Suddenly, a deafening roar erupted from the shadows beyond the open window. Clara's stomach dropped. The creature, like a demon unleashed, was not her only problem. Something darker was now stirring in the depths from whence the guardian had emerged. Clara's breath came fast, frantic. What to do? The ground beneath her trembled, and the nursery wallpaper rippled like water. She had to act, and fast. "Now!" she screamed, and she pulled Jamie with her, jumping out onto the fire escape just as the monster lunged. The cold metal bit into her palms as she clambered down, her heart pounding, adrenaline racing through her veins. The clattering of claws on wood echoed behind, but she couldn't focus on that. Not now. With one last glance back at the open window, she saw the guardian emerging, its silhouette blending into the night, a harbinger of the chaos about to unfold. "Move!" Clara whispered urgently to Jamie, whose small hands clutched her tightly. The streets were shaky beneath her feet, vague forms shuffling in the darkness. The air felt thick, suffocating. As they hit the pavement, Clara realized the world around her was different. Shadows danced wildly where there should have been light. The street lamps flickered ominously, their glow shifting as though drawn into the chaos. This wasn't just a nightmare, it was an awakening. What was the gift the guardian spoke of? More importantly, did Jamie truly carry the darkness within him? She had to know the truth before it consumed them both, but where to go? Each house looked increasingly transient, as if the world wasn't ready for what lurked beyond their doors. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, that something sinister was looming, ready to strike. "Mommy, I'm scared." Jamie's small voice pierced through her thoughts, pulling her back. "Me too, buddy. But we'll get through this." She forced a smile, determination flickering. "We just have to keep moving." But as they turned the corner, an overwhelming sense of dread washed over her. A figure stood at the end of the block, cloaked in shadows, watching and waiting. With every instinct screaming at her to run, Clara felt the icy grasp of fear seep into her bones. Who or what was watching them? And why did it feel so familiar? As she held Jamie close, ready to take the next step into the unknown, Clara realized she was facing a truth she could never have anticipated, a darkness that had been waiting for her all along. Would she have the strength to confront it, or would the shadows take her son from her? And just as she thought she could turn her back on the encroaching darkness, that familiar laugh echoed once more, twisting the air, igniting an overwhelming dread she was only just beginning. Clara and Jamie stumbled down the eerie street, shadows swirling like restless spirits. The world around them felt altered, as if reality itself had been peeled back to reveal a chaotic nightmare beneath. With each step, Clara sensed the darkness pulling at her heels, urging her to stop, to surrender. "Mommy, I'm so scared." Jamie's voice trembled, pulling at Clara's heartstrings. She knelt, placing a firm hand on his cheek, forcing herself to muster a smile. "I know, buddy. But we're together, and together we can face anything. Just keep holding my hand." As they moved forward, the street whispered its secrets. Flickering lights danced above, casting long shadows that twisted and reached for them like ghostly fingers. Clara felt the weight of unseen eyes watching, waiting. The air crackled with tension, an electric charge that sent shivers down her spine. She couldn't shake the feeling that the Guardian's promise of awakening a darkness was more than a threat, it was a warning. They turned a corner, and Clara's heart stopped. There, silhouetted against the dim glow of a street lamp, was Mara. Her figure was cloaked in deep shadows, yet Clara felt that twisted comfort radiating from her. "You thought you could escape this?" Mara's voice rushed like a cold wind. "You are deeply entwined with forces that are beyond your comprehension. You awakened them, Clara." Clara's hands trembled, gripping Jamie tighter. "Get away from us." She refused to back down, defiance burning in her chest. The shadows surrounding Mara crackled with anticipation, and Clara heard faint echoes of laughter bouncing off the pavement, mingling with the taunts of the Guardian. Mara stepped closer, her expression a blend of sympathy and malice. "But you don't understand, Clara. The darkness is not just a threat. It's your family's legacy. Jamie's strength is catalyzing something ancient, powerful, and beautiful." Clara's breath hitched. "No, you're wrong. He deserves a chance at a normal life." "Normal? Do you truly believe there is such a thing for him?" Mara asked, a smirk creeping across her lips. "The shadows will always call to him, just as they do to you." In that moment, the reality of her decision slammed into her. Clara had to choose: fight the family legacy that lay beneath layers of love, or embrace it and risk losing Jamie entirely. She remembered the warmth of the amulet resting against her chest, that pulse of love she had found in the nursery. "Jamie," she whispered, crouching down so they were eye to eye, "listen to me. Trust in the love we share, that's our real power." His small hand squeezed hers tightly, and Clara felt that bond solidify. "Stop!" she shouted, standing tall. "You will not take him. He is my son, and whatever darkness lingers, I will confront it. Together." A loud growl echoed through the streets, followed by a cacophony of shadows swirling at Mara's feet. She sneered, the darkness encircling her like a cloak. "Then let the games begin, Clara. Darkness thrives on fear, and soon, you both shall be consumed." "But we're stronger than that," Clara replied fiercely, clutching Jamie in a protective embrace. The amulet warmed against her skin, flickering like a beacon of hope. "The love I have for my son will guide us. You're the one who will regret underestimating it." With resolve swelling in her heart, Clara marched forward, the light from the amulet radiating around her. The shadows recoiled, snarling at the brightness, but she pressed on. The barrier between light and dark was thin, she had to harness that power to shield Jamie. "Show yourself!" Clara shouted, yearning to confront every fear that loomed in this twisted game. The air thickened, and suddenly, the shadows shifted, revealing the Guardian once more, its form looming powerful and vast. "Foolish girl!" it boomed, voice shaking the very foundation beneath them. "You cannot withstand what's coming. You are not the one in control." "Watch me," Clara responded confidently, the amulet pulsing with energy at her command, illuminating the street with a fierce glow. The Guardian hesitated, and Clara took her chance. "Jamie, hold on tight." She lunged forward with purpose, light bursting forth from her, enveloping the Guardian. The shadows writhed in agony, their cries screeching through the air. The street exploded with brightness as Clara poured every ounce of love, fear, and resolve into that radiant blast. As the light expanded, the darkness around them began to crumble, dissolving with the shrieks of the shadows. Clara turned, locking eyes with Jamie. "We're getting out of here." The relentless surge of light pushed them forward, and behind them, the Guardian's voice echoed in rage, "This isn't the end. You've only just begun to scratch the surface of what lies ahead." But Clara didn't falter. They rushed past the fragments of shattered darkness, darting through alleyways until they burst into the openness of the park, the night sky blanketing them in stars. Clara looked down at Jamie, his eyes wide and trusting. "Did we really escape, Mommy?" "We did," Clara whispered, brushing a stray lock of hair from his forehead. "But we know now what we're up against, and we will face it together." Even as doubt lingered, a fierce determination surged within her. They would press on, protect one another, and confront whatever darkness sought to claim their legacy. She held Jamie close, feeling a flicker of hope amidst the echoes of shadows behind them, but they weren't finished yet. As they walked hand in hand under the starlit sky, Clara felt a pull, a whisper reminding her that the shadows were not just enemies. They were also a part of her, woven into the very fabric of her being. And recognizing that would shape the battles to come. "Mommy?" Jamie's voice pulled her from her thoughts. "Yes?" Clara turned toward him, ready to face whatever came next. "I'm not scared anymore." With a mix of pride and determination swelling in her chest, Clara whispered, "Neither am I." Together, they took their first steps into a future fraught with uncertainty, holding tightly to their love, a steady light against the encroaching darkness. And as the night deepened, Clara promised herself that they would never surrender to the shadows again. This was just the beginning of their journey, and for those of you following Clara and Jamie's adventure, this is where I need your help. You need to subscribe now to stay on this thrilling journey, so you don't miss a single twist or revelation. Smash that like button right now to help us reach more fans. Flood the comments section below with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about the story. And don't wait even one more second, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how Clara's journey unfolds. Your support means everything. Let's keep this community alive and thriving.